Hi, in this video we're going to take a look at a cue that I worked on earlier this year. The really cool thing about this cue is that I actually didn't write it from a script or from a visual element at all. I wrote the music from an idea. The director approached me early on and asked me to write music for his feature film, and he gave me a couple items to help me develop the score. Those items included a temp track of some example cues, a sizzle reel, and a couple pages from the script. From there, I was able to craft an emotional, psychological score. And a quick aside, the director and I were at a festival last year, and we were walking to the venue, and I heard these really loud clanging noises from workers working with heavy machinery. And I captured it with my iPhone, and I told him, I'm going to use this in your cue. And it actually ended up making into it. So let's jump right on in and get to work. So this film is a psychological thriller. It's about a fan that becomes captivated by this actor and becomes overly infatuated and essentially tries to kidnap this person. There's a lot more to the film, but that's kind of the log line. So I wanted to create a score that was haunting and beautiful, but at the same time maddening and chaotic. So the cue starts out very minimal. Lots of textures. Here comes the melody. So the main melody is in the string family. It's played by the viola, the cello, and the contrabass, and they're all playing a unison line. And it's a long phrase, with lots of space between the phrases. And the melody is split. The viola's in the center, cello's in the right, contrabass is on the left-hand side. So I made this sound with the Roli Seaboard, and the software that I'm using is audio modeling, and they use synthesizers to create these sounds. They're not actual samples, and it's pretty amazing what they can do. Essentially, I played this phrase right here, so I glissanded up into it. So you can create some really cool sounds with this thing, and you can be very expressive. While the melody is going on, the other instruments that are playing are being extremely supportive of this melody. So what's going on outside the melody is this. So notice there's these rises that happen at the end of the phrase that goes in between the spaces of the melody. I wanted to create something that had this urgency and this loneliness to it, because this character is becoming very emotionally erratic. So I really wanted to have music that portrayed this lonely isolationism that this character had. At the very beginning of this video, I talked about this metal construction noise. This is the sound. So it's like an auger, I guess, or something that was creating this percussive sound. At the very end of the cue, it's actually, you can hear it. Just some really eerie kind of cool sounds, because this is suspense film. Another interesting thing to point out is this one sound. It's got some really interesting things going on texturally. Atmospheric sound, and it had all these other things going on with it. All those filters turned off except for this one sound. And then I messed with some of these. You can control different sounds, and you can control where the waveform comes and leaves. The basses are made by the OB6. And I did a lot of stuff to make this sound, which was really, really interesting. I wanted something really deep and eerie. It's got some noise in the sound, as well as a chorus and a delay that's in the synthesizer. Finally, one more thing that I want to mention is there's no drums in this piece. I wanted it to be very minimal in that department. But I created a sound, so it's kind of like tremolo sound sample to mess with. There's these really interesting kind of flurried, reversed sounds going on with this patch right here, which kind of has a snare drum-esque sound to it. This melody is very, very haunting. I wanted something that was very minimal and very sparse. Something that evoked a lot of emotion, because this character is extremely unstable, and I want to begin to let the audience see how this character is unraveling at the seams. And I'm doing it with only a few notes. But I think the context of the melody speaks volumes for this piece. There's a link above to previous videos that I've made in case you missed some. And in the meantime, please like, subscribe, and I'll see you all next week.